Welcome back to Gear and Beer.
Kind of.
Gear and beer and wine and tacos and the source of all life, that is water. We've all had some water. We are a fully hydrated crew. Today we have the Primus of Pittsburgh, Mr. Ford Thurston.
Thank you.
Give it up for Ford. We've got, as usual, twisting and tweaking, Lyndon McCarty on guitardy.
He's got fingers.
And special guest, Mr. Dallas, Texas himself, Lance Lopez.
In the house.
Rocking guy on the couch duty.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
The second ever guy on the couch on the Gear and Beer podcast.
Oh, this has happened before.
Yeah, Boo Massey was here for episode 11 of Matt Krause, and he was also the first ever guest on this podcast.
Oh, wow.
We,
no one else has interesting enough friends to want to do it, is what that you're saying.
Well, I don't even know, you know.
It's obvious to me that we needed a little Lopez up in the show, you know.
No, you're right.
Whatever that means.
I like the emphasis. I like your emphasis on those syllables.
Yes, I think that we're off to a good start. I don't even know what time it is, but it's way later than when you guys first arrived.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely latest start award.
This guy makes the filet mignon of tacos. Let me tell you right now. It's
Tacos Mignon. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
the Primus of tacos.
It is the Primus of tacos. In case nobody knows what Primus is, I'm going to link that in the show notes. And I don't mean the amazing band from decades past.
I don't want to sound like I'm jumping on the bandwagon because everyone talks about doing mushrooms a lot now. You know, it's like microdosing. Everywhere you go.
Did you microdose before you came?
Are you microdosing?
You macrodosed on tacos.
I don't know if taking a quarter ounce of mushrooms and going and seeing Primus is microdosing, but
no, it isn't.
No, I don't think it is.
I've never done that.
I was the Primus at the Primus show. Let's just say that, right?
I haven't seen Primus since I was 14.
Wow.
It was do you remember the DMC, Lance?
Of course.
It was at the DMC.
Wow.
It was the first show I ever went to. My buddy bought me a ticket for my 14th birthday.
Wow.
And I just remembered that I was like, you know what? I'm 14. I think I should probably go mosh with these adults. Mm-hmm. And somebody punched me in the stomach, and I threw up immediately, which was something that's never happened to me before or since.
Wow.
A punch, immediate throw up. I don't know if
You should have done some mushrooms. Been better.
Maybe that was the problem. Maybe I had not done nearly the amount of drugs appropriate for the endeavor that I was undertaking.
Wow.
But that's okay because.
Well, I'm sorry you had to go through that, Robert. That's a terrible situation.
It was awesome.
So uncool. You probably wait. You know what though?
I had a great time.
Robert probably already had a beard then though. That's why they punched you. They thought this guy's definitely of age.
Who is this old man?
Yeah, right. That's incredible.
This is going to be an awesome podcast, but as I often do,
he's 20.
I'm going to go ahead and bitch now about all the editing that I'm going to have to do with camera angles. I'm going to buy new software just for this.
Yeah.
I am not good at video editing.
Oh wow!
Yet here we are.
Here
we are, Ford Thurston on the Gear and Beer. Welcome back to Gear and Beer.
Plus wine.
Just Gear and Beer.
Okay.
This man may not be into beer, but he knows gear.
That's true.
But you are from Dallas or Texas, and that would be gear and steer, maybe.
No. Maybe.
Oh,
it's really tough to say.
Yeah.
Because people are from Texas, and let me break this down for you. So, like, in Texas, they have cattle.
Right.
But they also have neighborhoods.
Right.
That's correct.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with
Oh,
this.
very familiar
There's
with
also
Texas.
buildings. And
do they have that in Pennsylvania?
Pennsylvania is like, you know what? It's buildings and cities. And
you guys make butter up there and stuff, right?
Man,
there's like Quakers and whatnot.
Dude, it's just so much nicer than Texas when you get there.
Farm bread. I bet it's way nicer in Texas from about May to October.
Right. Yeah. And then it gets to like November and you're like, you get in your car and you're all pissed off because it's like your windshield wipers are stuck to the ice on your windshield.
It's like Game of Thrones.
You're stuck
outside.
to your seat and you're solid and your shoulders are up like this because you're shaking and you're trembling and you're going, I have to go to work for 8 hours and I'm going to be, and then you got to get out and scrape your thing. And this is the musician way to clean a windshield for all you non-northern people. When you don't have a windshield scraper, you want to make sure you still have a CD player so that you have the compact disc. That's a scraper.
Dude, I broke so many of those in Chicago.
Right. You're Chicago.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about then.
He was describing having to dig cars in and out of parking spots.
Because I worked in a wedding band, 1 a.m.
Right.
I'm in a suit. I have to dig into a temporary spot, go dig into the permanent spot that's like half a mile away.
And you're looking for the CD
parking.
You don't care about so much. You're like, I don't really care about this old Judas Priest CD or whatever.
Or perhaps the Butthole Surfers.
We have to see which CD we go with.
Snow is to be visited.
Yes.
Comment your CD of choice for windshield scraping.
Yeah, you should be using some type of winter collection of music CD scraper.
Oh, yeah, like some Trans-Siberian.
Yes.
You know.
Absolutely.
Some Mannheim steamroller.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
You don't know anything about it.
So,
knows nothing about it.
I stopped you a minute ago, right before we started. You were about to tell a story about playing with Bernard Purdy, if I'm not mistaken, in Pittsburgh. I would like to hear that story, and I can only imagine that our listeners and viewers, all 16 of them, would like to hear it as well.
Oh, awesome. I grew up playing with a woman named Barbara Blue, and she's this woman that she's
Barbara Blue Bland?
Basically, man, she's the real deal. But she's like really good friends with Taj Mahal, Marsha Ball, and all these people. And,
okay.
And I grew up playing with her.
And
we'd play on blues festivals. Like when I was, she hired me when I was really young. I was like, she used to call me the young Ford Thurston. You know, and last time I saw her, I was like, I played a gig with. Well, when I played that gig, I said, can we go with the young Ford?
Can we call him the young?
No, that didn't work no more. So. She called me and she said, "Hey, you going to be home in Pittsburgh for Christmas?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to be home." And she said, "Well, do you want to do a blues gig? We're going to do a little reunion gig."
And you're like, "Hell yeah!"
And I was like, "Yeah, you know," but like I was kind of like, you know, I just got done doing a record, and you know, I we were doing with COVID and all that stuff. Not that I was really crazy about being afraid of that kind of stuff, but so much. But I was like, kind of like at Christmas time, I try to like just hang out with my family and chill. Being that we do live in Nashville.
I get that.
So I go, and I'm like, why is Bernard Purdy sitting behind that drum kit right now? She goes, well, that's who's playing drums for us tonight. I was like, what is going on right now, right? And she had told everybody but me, and I don't regular my Facebook, and the place was like, you couldn't breathe. I mean, it was like 5,000 people in a trash bag. It was crazy, right? So like,
that sounds moist.
It was really, it was. It was really crazy though, because it's like I knew that the guy didn't listen to anything that she sent him. So he was just flying by the seat of his pants. Now we're playing shuffles and this and that. It was all good, but there were some songs that had like little things, and he was just kind of faking his way through it. But it was weird, like letting you know he's a human being. He's just like the rest of us.
I mean, but if it's just a blues gig, and you're not right, you just simplify the arrangement, and you can get call tunes that'll be easy.
He does it, but there's a video out there where like literally I'm right up on him on the kit, and it's I did a solo and I made the bass player. I said cut out, stop. So it was a second line thing. And I was like, and I was right by his hi hat, and he was like, ha ha, doing his thing, doing the whole thing.
Purdy.
I was doing the thing, and we solo. It was like a 2.5 minute long thing, and it did it, and like it was so awesome. And after at the show, he gave me a hug. It was awesome. It was like
that's incredible.
It was amazing, and I was like, dude.
Purdy.
Anybody else in this room play with Bernard Purdy?
Yeah,
it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool. But I got there was times when I got the feel, and you knew why he is who he is. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's hard when you're just like on some bar gig. But there was moments I was playing, I was like, oh, I totally get it. You know?
Well, you know, he's just one of many people throughout history, amazing musicians that find their way into their own thing, and they find their sound. And in the instance, like two drummers that come to mind for just having such a unique sound and recordings, past and present, would be Purdy and Keith Carlock.
Yeah, he's so bad.
Keith Carlock
oh my God.
is on so many different kinds of recordings in the last 15, 20 years, but you can always pick, there's just a certain like energy to his playing, as well as their you know, vocabularies that are unique to them as well.
He's amazing.
And that's what I, you know, it's possible to both really sound like yourself and play all styles of music stylistically appropriate.
Yeah.
And those are my favorite kind of players.
Right.
And that's where Purdy would sit, and that's definitely where Keith Carlock sits, just from a drummer's
I've seen Carlock a few different times, like New York City, and I've seen him in Pittsburgh, actually, years ago. And he was really a long while ago. And I remember seeing it and going, knowing that guy was amazing. It was like,
there is a 2-set at the Iridium, Wayne Krantz, Tim LaFave, Keith Carlock from early to mid 2000s. I'm gonna link it in the show notes. That is some musical insanity of the highest. It's like 3 dudes who are they're all on like optic links, brain to brain, musically.
It's crazy,
and they are straight up blasting off to outer space. And it is a little out, but I think that it is. So there's so much energy to what they're doing that it lends itself to someone who wouldn't typically engage in that kind of a musical scenario.
It's like I try to like comprehend just 1/8 of 1% of one idea of one of those guys, because they're so like that's not really.
But it's not so much an idea; it's more about like speaking the language.
Oh, yeah,
it's like in Spanish, it's really easy to say "I love the library."
Right.
But if you don't know how to do that, then you can't recognize any of the sounds. And so, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I took a lesson with Oz Noy one time. He's one of my favorite guitar
had somebody
players.
did that too, and he said it was crazy.
It was awesome.
He's showing you some nutty stuff. You're like,
well,
whoa.
and he's like, this is how it's going to go. Bring something to video record. We're not going to spend a lot of time playing. Like, we'll play for a minute. I'll kind of get a feel for where you are as a player, and then we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about, and I'll tell you what I think and whatever, and you just video record it, and we'll spend I was there for like 2 hours, and we did the lesson, and we did all that stuff, and we were playing, and I was like, man, I'm just really like I like jazz, but I just I'm having a hard time like listening to these lines and like processing it and being able to replicate it. He's like, well, you obviously just don't know the language. He's like, yeah, I can tell by the way that you play over these changes, you don't know the language of bebop. You just have to literally just take the time and sit there and learn it. And I'm a lot better at it these days.
That's crazy.
But there's so fewer applications here in Nashville than there are in Dallas for things like that. So I don't get to work on it. I have to like really try to put those scenarios together, and for a good 6 months every Sunday over here in this same space, me and buddies were getting together, and we were jamming just standards and like straight ahead standards. I got a lot better in that time.
It's really weird, but like with what's going on with like internet guitar and this and that, my latest mental approach.
This and that is it's an inadvertent Primus reference.
Yes.
Continue.
What I've really been thinking about and striving for is finding a way to do nothing and just sound. No, worried about. I'm more focusing on my sound with what I do personally, with like what I do for myself. It's almost like, okay, diatonic. I'm best at simple guitar. No bullshit. Like I'm best at simple guitar and melodies with just a little bit of blues, and I like themes, and I like songs, and I like little trinkets. I grew up listening to pop music, and my jazz and fusion background was really like I grew up listening to Wired from Jeff Beck, and I had Guitar Shop, but I liked I would have Alan Holdsworth Metal Fatigue. I listened to that record like crazy. But I never learned any of it. I would just listen to it.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
Because I couldn't learn it.
Holdsworth.
Yeah, it was it was crazy.
Let me see your hands.
His hands are like,
I'm about to say you're missing about 3 inches of finger.
Wait. Since we're on Holdsworth, we have to tag this video, which I'll get to you. I'm at NAMM 2013 or 14. I'm working for Rocket Pedals. I was supposed to be Chris Van Tassel. You have to tag him in this. He hires me to come to the LA NAMM show to premiere his new pedal on Saturday. I would do it for Premier Guitar. I was going to be his demonstrator for the video they sent around, to do videos for all these companies. And these old friends I knew from high school showed up out there on Friday, on the night before on Friday, and lo and behold, everyone goes out and has these lavish dinners and whatnot, and I go out with them.
It's very NAMM.
Yes, very NAMM.
NAMM dinners.
We go out and get lamb-basted and just, I miss...
Fully marinated.
True NAMM fashion.
I miss the video shoot, right? And I'm just like, I don't even know what to do. Like, this is the whole reason why I'm here. So I go in. Van Tassel, rightfully so, was so upset. He was so upset. But he's such a sweet guy. He did kind of let me off the hook, but I could tell he showed me that I was wrong without having to be completely out of control, because we were still at work, right? So, and then that happens, and Chris had done the demo, and then all of a sudden, Alan Holdsworth comes to our booth. So I'm sitting there, and I have a little looper going. I'm playing like this, like little country stuff, and Holdsworth's sitting there, and he's with a son and a daughter, and all three of them were intoxicated for sure, right? And I'm sitting there, and I heard him say that he needed a drink, right? So he takes my guitar and he plays a little bit, and it's amazing. It's like picks it up and just blah blah blah. Right?
He unfolds his fingers and starts playing.
He's like,
his
he rolls him
wingspan.
out. He's got a crank, Lance. He's like,
exactly.
So I go up to him. I'm like, hey, you need a drink? And I said, well, if you I'll buy you a drink. And then the camera goes on, and he puts his arm around me and goes, this is for Thurston. He's the greatest guitar player I have ever heard in my life. And then it's cut. No, go get me that drink.
All that for a drink.
And I have this video of Alan Holdsworth put his arm around me, and I'm like, oh, Alan, you're so nice. Oh, I can't take that from you.
That's
pretty
ridiculous.
amazing. So then later, after that happens, I'm there demonstrating these pedals, and this guy in a black suit walks up, and he's like, hey, we've been hearing about you. And I'm like, yeah, who are you? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, hey, listen.
Like, we're security. You're going to have to leave.
He looked like, he was like, yeah. I heard you.
We heard you touched Alan Holdsworth.
No.
You got to get out of here.
You gave Alan a drink. He just got out of rehab. And his son. So then this guy's got this black suit. He looks like he's in the Matrix or something. And he goes, well, we'd like to take you to dinner later. And I'm like, well, this is pretty serious, right? So I find out that it's like one of the head guys of Harman Kardon, which is like a $300 million company or something at the time. Rest their soul, they got bought by Samsung. But so they take me to dinner, and they're like, yeah, we want a guy like you that's kind of a little nutty, that plays some guitar and not like the serious, retired guy, blah, blah, blah. We want a Nashville guy. And they gave me this great job, and I just traveled around the country, or the world, actually. They gave me like a no ending black whatever card that is, like you could just do anything you wanted, right? So it's like, go to Norway, take everybody to dinner, go club and stay at like the 5 seasons, and just do whatever, and it would just expense, but I was doing my job. Very
corporate expense card.
It was crazy. But the company was really working, because I was making their content and everything was going great. And then I got the call that Samsung had bought Digitech and buried the company, and right now they're just like, I think Digitech's just on a pallet somewhere in Korea where they take orders and it just gets sent. But God bless Tom Cramp, because he had brought that company back. And I'm sorry, Chris Van Tassel. And I love you, Alan Holdsworth. There you go.
Well, there you have it. See you next time on Gear and Beer.
Beer and wine.
That's pretty crazy. So, this is a podcast. I'm not going to be too super interviewy, but like, did you come from like a musical family or background, or did you just like, you were walking through the mall one day and you heard Led Zeppelin, you're like, yeah?
No. So my the guy who raised me, my stepfather, him and his brother both played. And he raised me since I was my father was a Vietnam not casualty, but he mentally. Because he's cool now, but like he just kind of disappeared after the thing. And then my stepfather was like stepped in when I was really young, very young, and he was really into music, and he had a record collection that had like all the Hendrix vinyls and Jimi Hendrix, and you had your Jeff Becks. That's how I had JoJo Gunn, and you had the first. You had your Deep Purple records and all this in that record player. And without a doubt, by the time I was like 5 years old, I literally already knew what I was going to do. There was no question. I was already playing air guitar, or I thought I was a drummer, like in the stereo window, you'd be playing it and playing drums, and then Rush came out, and the first Boston record.
Right above Lance is an amazing Rush poster.
Yeah, we saw that.
Very amazing.
We were
the double.
We were
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, that is a badass picture.
It's a great print.
Portnoy wants to play for them. He's like,
I heard that.
I could see that happening.
We kill somebody. That does not happen.
I'm like,
I thought you were going there.
There are any number.
Yeah.
You were just talking about Carlock. What about Carlock?
Well, let me rephrase that.
Get not like a metal drummer.
Welcome back to Opinions and Beer with Robert.
No,
Moore.
hang on. I think I'm about to walk this back a little bit. If Mike Portnoy were to just show up and play the Neil Peart parts, which is really the only way you could do that gig, he's definitely capable of that if he's playing Neil's kits.
Yeah. Right.
His kits don't sound like that.
Right.
His playing style is not in the same hemisphere as they're just.
Thank you.
Not due to facility or anything like that. He's just not. They're just not the same player.
Well,
it's like comparing Terry Bozzio to Buddy Rich. It's like those guys aren't playing the drums the same.
Right.
They're both icons, but that doesn't make. And they play the same instrument, but that's where the similarities end. You know.
What a complicated original. What would you say? Innovator. Amazing.
Complete innovator.
Unbelievable, deep thinking, feeling lyricist person that in the end of all that talent, the reason why I think that probably came down with the cancer is because of all the loss he dealt with. His daughter and his wife.
Different, or was it the same incident? Or
I don't know, but
I think what happens, he lost them in the same few weeks or months.
Yeah,
I think it was several months between.
I think that kind of stuff will cause cancer. Just like you just go and
inability to release and deal with stress, or just like not worry, but just like.
I heard he rode a bicycle like Forrest Gump around the world.
His motorcycle.
Not a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Well, at least he's smart enough to do that. I mean,
one time, me and Billy Freeman chased what we thought was Neil Peart going from Oklahoma to Austin. We were driving from Dallas to Austin to Moody Coliseum to the Moody whatever to see Rush on the I forget what they were calling, the Time Machine tour.
Oh wow!
I've got a polo shirt. Anyway,
that would look really good on you.
I wore it in one of the podcasts.
Was that with the washing machines on the stage?
Yes.
Wow,
absolutely.
Right. Wow,
they did things.
Were they great?
It was. I mean, they were like
children,
late
kids,
50s,
and
they killed Alex Lifeson. Alex Lifeson, along with Dean DeLeo, are the two most underrated guitar players in the history of rock music.
Go ahead and write me, or just do the Spirit of the Radio solo alone. It says so much. It's just it's not even. I think that the thing that's overlooked is the solo could not be any different for that piece of music. It's perfect.
I say the same thing for every solo he ever played.
It's
Absolutely.
crazy, man.
He rarely took liberties live. I mean, a couple of times maybe.
Can I say this though? That
people are singing those solos,
Rush,
so he plays them.
Rush was a weird band though, because when I was really young, and I started listening to them, I had Exit Stage Left and all that, and all my friends were going to the Moving Pictures tour, and I was too young to go. But as a kid, when I'd hear it, because you'd never really okay. You have Genesis. We're talking about early Genesis. Now that's serious prog rock, right?
For sure.
Now, Rush was the pop prog, okay? But even that being said, I'm kind of correlating this to how my own mind works. Even when I heard that when I was a kid, I was like, I thought everything harmonically was so complex. And then as an adult now, I look at it, I can just hear a Rush song and just go, oh, it's actually just first position bar chords, and it's a lot of it's very
a lot
simple,
of rock and roll guitar.
But it really rock and roll guitar. But really, what's going on though? I think that as a guitar player, I could see that, but I think the bass playing and the drumming, the way they made the dimension of the whole thing, it's quite simple. But everybody knew how to play their parts.
And Getty is also
chorus pedals and
he's hitting loops on analog synthesizers and stuff and holding pads.
Right.
And sometimes he's playing key bass with his left hand and playing synths.
But you know what I'm saying though? When I heard it years ago, I was like, what are they playing? It just sounded...
It's the complement of the instruments.
It just was so wide sounding. It was like, how can... what is going on? It just sounded amazing. I mean, you hear the trees, and you're thinking, I can never learn this. I will never learn this song. It'd be too hard. Or what was
I used to know so many
YYZ or something,
guitar, and I can't remember any of them. I haven't played any of them.
Man, I think King Crimson is the one that like really took it harmonically.
Yeah.
A little further in that, in that same vein. If we're talking about like early prog bands, like
I never got. I mean, I know obviously who Robert Fripp
Discipline
is
the record that comes to mind.
I don't. For everybody, I never got into that band. I didn't try.
They had some great records, and they have just like Genesis. They evolved heavily as a band from the very first. The first album is like
Peter Gabriel's
is like a free jazz record,
Collins.
basically.
Yeah,
and then like further on you go, the more refined it gets.
Deer and beer.
So the guitar that I was playing at the beginning, last year I went to Mexico.
So just for frame of reference, it will not be attached to this podcast, but we did a fun jam that will definitely be posted.
Okay.
Most of the jams are for Patreon people, but this one is not going to be. This one's going to be available on YouTube.
This is going to be YouTube.
This is going to be for the masses.
The guitar that I was playing, which by the way, I've always loved your 330. I've wanted your guitar.
Well, you had that 60 or 59.
I have
the black one.
No, I have.
Or it was like a dark burst.
I have a 60 with a Bigsby, and I have a 59 stop tail, real 59, and I have a Tito Jackson's.
We're talking 330s.
I have Tito Jackson's 62 335.
What?
I do. It's 7 pounds.
Man, I don't know if you know this, Lyndon, but my man Ford over here is a wheelin' and dealin' vintage guitar guy.
Man.
That's factual information.
If you ever find a guitar and you online and you're like, this is a great deal, and you try to buy it and it's not available, I promise
Lance
you
has
Ford
the
bought
best.
it.
Lance has the best Instagram headshots. It's always like with another guitar, like, hey, check this out.
Right.
And he was like, God damn,
House of Tone this morning.
House of Tone.
Breakfast time.
Yes, check out House of Tone. So, I was.
We'll put a link to whatever that. What is that?
Yeah,
it's just what we call the house.
House. Yeah, we haven't done that yet. So,
you haven't made an actual. How can I put a link if there's not a link?
Do
you understand how this works?
Yeah, Ford Thurston Music and Lance Lopez. Is it music or what is it?
Guitarist on Instagram.
Lance Lopez guitarist.
Yeah, all of the Instagram. So anyone that watches on YouTube or looks at any of the show notes on any of the podcast apps, I put all the links to the stuff that I say I will, that I remember and that I hear when I'm editing.
Do you remember anything?
Yeah, I do. And also, Lyndon is making live notes of things that I say I'm going to link, which is helpful.
Impressive.
So, depending on how many beers we have, it's better
very Spock.
sometimes than others.
Very Spock. Impressive.
This podcast has an absolute terrible time managing GoPro video for sure.
All right, so
no, hang on. So my point is, I didn't finish. Everyone, shut up.
That was the most Robert Miller thing.
That was Robert Miller. Shut up, Thurston.
No, hang on. I've got 10 more minutes of shit to say.
Hang on. I did not get to my original point, which was
dang.
All of the Instagram handles are in all of the show notes.
Yeah.
All of the Instagrams, even Mr. Talk Over Me. No, I'm just kidding. Again, all the links that I say that I'm going to provide, we do our best to make sure that we actually get all those in there. And these podcasts that usually tend to be 1 to 2 hours long.
Holy shim slim.
Did you know you were running a marathon today, Mr. Ford Thurston?
So,
Tito Jackson.
Yeah, the guitar. Actually, we were talking
about Tito Jackson.
I lent that guitar recently to Guthrie Trapp along with, and you'll like this, I was on a little bird scooter in Portland, and I was passing this guitar store called Black Book Guitars in Portland, Oregon. And I drive by, and I look in, and I see this little tiny tweed-looking amp, except it's got snakeskin on it. I'm like, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen.
Did it belong to Sebastian Bach?
Yeah, right. I plug into the amplifier, and it is stupid, man. And it's got this reverb.
What is it?
It's a Kendrick.
I don't even know.
Kendrick's,
oh, yeah.
Kendrick.
Gerald Weber from Austin. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Lance knows it, but
yeah.
So I have had it for a long while, and I just know that the amp has that like really nice soft bounce feel of like it's a 5E3 but they're running it on 6L6s, and it's super soft. Like it just like when you go to play like we were playing with these amps, it's super soft and amazing, and I knew like
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
No, Guthrie's going through like a moment where he's not happy with anything he's hearing.
Dude, that sounds like a description of my tonal life.
Yeah. Well, this amplifier fixes everything because I went to a gig he was doing.
Is it squishy like a Tweed Deluxe?
It's like a Tweed Deluxe except a little tighter than that and just better. Headroom like a Pro Reverb on 25 watts. Like but still the tone of a Tweed amp, and So I showed up. Yeah, I showed up at a gig last week, and
the one that you guys did.
No, this was that one. This was 2 weeks later.
Okay.
And
by the way, thanks for not telling me about that. I saw it on Instagram the next day.
Oh, sorry. So I went there and
thanks everybody.
Set the amplifier up for him to play it.
I wish you could.
And then he pulls out another guitar. He goes, "Oh, that's cool. I have another amp. You're playing with me tonight." And I was like, because he's a beast, you know. So it was like whatever. It ended up being a blast, and of course Lance gets involved. Lance is always killing it. You know what you played on the first night, but you sang the second night, right?
Right, that's correct.
Yeah, right. Correct. I wanted you to play. I was trying to, but
we're gonna definitely have to get Lance back over here in this chair.
The Kendrick amp, if you can find one, they're very rare. It's called a gig rig, and it's got the best reverb, and you can find them. They're not that much money, but I mean, it's like a Tweed Deluxe, a little bit high powered. But I've had a bunch of different Tweed Deluxes that are high powered, and this company and that company. Blah, blah, blah. This is a whole other thing.
Never quite there.
Yeah, this guy I talked to him. He said he spent 12 years on it, and I saw him then at the Station Inn this past Saturday, and there was
Guthrie.
Yeah, and he was playing with this like really cool electric bluegrass band kind of band, and there was people in the audience going, that guitar sounds like it's mixed at a studio, and it's the amplifier. It's unbelievable. Now I'm thinking I'm never going to see that amplifier again. That thing, there's no way. It's so good.
So he's been playing it out.
Yeah,
I'll definitely have to try to catch him. I mean, I'm gigging almost every single day. Right. So it's tough for me to get out, and I don't even know that I would have been able to make your thing. But in the future, you should tell me when you guys are playing guitar nights.
Were you playing?
I don't know if you know this, but I'm into guitar, and I would love to see you guys play.
Well, were you playing that date?
I mean, I don't know.
Oh,
I don't remember. I found out about it the next day.
You were booked. You know you were playing.
I probably was. Was it a Monday?
Yeah.
We should just stick to the fact that you probably have more money than all of us.
Yeah, I played 2 gigs every Monday.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you were working.
You're just crushing it.
I mean, I don't know if I'm crushing it or not, but
the whole thing with saying you can't make money playing in Nashville bars now is so complete.
Who is saying that?
They used to in like 2009, 10ish.
Well, I didn't live here.
Complete lie. You can make more money than you could with a college degree right now. Probably.
Today. I'm pretty sure.
There's people making $3,000 a week.
If you have the skills and you can
work hard,
learn the song. You have to learn songs or be able to pull up charts and read those charts and have stylistic framework. I say that in order to do it at a level that I would call acceptable, you need to be able to do those things.
Unless you're just in the same old.
There are rooms down there where you don't need any of that, and you can just be, a
crazy person,
skinny armed, cut off shirt, spiky hair, and my man, and you can maybe make the same amount of money if you just.
But you're saying the charts are necessary when somebody comes up with a $100 tip, and you're going to.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're going to pull out. They're going to say, "We got a $100 tip."
Your ability to make money relies upon your ability to pull songs out of your ass
for tourists
for money, and it's like, in any group that has musical familiarity. So, like, I tend to play with the same people. I don't really do many one-offs. I like to do what I like to do. Sure, I'm going to do those things, and I'm
right with you on that, too.
I have to say no a lot. I'm also very busy doing other things, so I can't be down there a lot. But in a scenario where I'm comfortable musically, and I can predict what these people are going to do. We played a lot of music together. It makes it that much easier. It's just like if I don't know the song, I know that this person right here that says they're going to get me through it is going to give me the information when I need it,
I love
how I need
he's
it. We're going to get through. They're going to. He's going to set it up with the feel that I need.
He's phoning you the lines.
Rob Music. He's the guy that the last podcast I released this week. This podcast will come out. I think 3 weeks.
I played with this woman. She was like, she was going to be
Barbara Blue Bland.
No, she was like a big star in the early 2000s. Jessica Andrews, and she had like. She was like she was the new Leanne Rimes, right? And so I got called and I did a gig with her and these other country legendary people that night. And
side note, Leanne Rimes is underrated.
I did not chart the songs. And
Do you know where Leanne Rimes is from?
Texas, right?
Garland, Texas.
There you go.
Oh, I didn't know.
She's great. You don't like her? You said?
No, I'm saying. Side note, she's incredibly underrated.
Oh yeah, she's amazing.
Oh,
she is
incredible.
And she's
one of the best singers in the last 20 years.
Really cool person too. She's not an asshole at all. So, but
I don't know her since I knew her in.
I've been on gigs where she's been there. She's been really just normal and stuff like that. But I got there and this girl was such a strong musician as a singer that the way that she sang, you could just. You could play behind the beat, and every change was just phoned to you. You could just, it's a 6, it's blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like that's what you're kind of saying with like anyone you're playing with. They can phone you, signal you the changes with their playing.
Yes, well, and that too. So there's actually two sides to that. So there's the ability to follow someone giving you changes or being able to use your ear to follow the changes, but not so much follow the changes as be able to predict them from a standpoint of like logic and probability.
Yeah, right.
Just like this,
well, it's a 1, 5, 6, 4
chord. There's probably going to a 5 chord kind of a thing, you know.
Right.
And that's a little less standard these days than it was back when there was such a thing that's like a standard. Like, what would you even call standards from this era? It's like standard what? It doesn't mean standard anymore. It now means popular music of the very small moment in an era. It's not like the 40s had a whole bank of songs that were all kind of like each other. They were popular. They were the same kind of writers. And you have that today, but with all the different mediums for people to get music out and ways to consume, whether it's YouTube or Spotify or whatever, it's like those lines are a lot more blurred these days, don't you think?
Yes, yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
I for one am thankful. I know that the artists get a fucking raw end of the deal a lot of times with the streaming and stuff. Some artists don't. Some artists are really smart and figure out how to make the system work for them after putting in the initial work to become a cog in the system. You have to get in the machine to manipulate it.
I think about those people like there's a special gift in their personality that knows how to be that guy or that girl. You know what I mean?
Dude, I mean, say what you will, and I haven't even talked to you about this, but the guy that you used to play with did that. He played the game, got in the game, and then started doing whatever he wants for better or for worse. You know what I mean? And like,
by the way, he's now becoming a movie star.
I saw that.
And that's networking in itself there too, because he's got some friends that are like really big actors, and they would be at gigs. And I was smart enough to know that I never said anything. Like, hey, I go to that movie. No, just...
You never said anything?
Not a peep.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first.
I wouldn't say a peep. In fact, they didn't even know that I knew who they were. I mean, it was like you'd have like, I'm going to think of someone that wasn't there. It'd be like if the dude was there and you're like acting like you don't even know him. Just like, hey, man, so what are you doing? You like music? What's up? You know, I'd be like,
hey man, you want a taco?
Hey, you want to smoke some weed? He'd been like, hell yeah, man.
I think now that we're talking about like revenue and musicians and actors, so the same thing that happened to musicians happened to actors, and screenwriters, people that receive royalties, which is
with all the streaming platforms,
happened, right?
Yeah.
But actors have and screenwriters have essentially unions.
They
have organizations that
protects them and stuff.
They're non-union unions, essentially.
Like do what a union should do, right? They protected the interests of the people that are members, right, of that industry. we don't have. I mean, there's not a strong musicians union.
It's lame.
And we now receive 0.004 whatever. You know.
Yeah, try doing that to the movie industry and see how that goes.
That shit ain't gonna happen.
No, they'd be like,
they didn't let it.
They would go crazy.
Yeah, and we let it happen, and now it's become the precedent was set. And it's hard to undo.
Isn't it weird to think that because the music industry and how many artists there are musically is so much more vast than movies? It's way more vast than how many actors there are. Mm-hmm. Like, billions of times bigger than that, right? How is it possible?
Well, the scale is different. I think that there's a lot of actors, but it's
not as many as musicians. Everybody plays music. So it's like...
you might be right.
It's like, look, how is it possible that we have this big army and we're the ones getting fucked?
Well, I think it's that any musician can throw their shit on Spotify, right? That's why if anybody should start,
we should start making pirate iPhone movies with the best story. I'm gonna write like fucking Forrest Gump and shoot it on an iPhone.
I was just about to say, there is a parallel there. You can put out terrible sounding music through Spotify, just like you could put out an iPhone movie that you edited together in iMovie.
Yeah, but if you're the equivalent of a big boy. If you're, unless you're like the Tom Cruise of music, you don't have the leverage to make a living. Talk to anybody that you would call either AAA or like lower tier MLB.
Yeah.
And those people are like, they're not making what the equivalent of 20, 30 years ago was making. Like not even not even close.
Lance.
Yeah.
Did you ever sell any of those porn movies you used to make?
I don't know. I think they kind of got those all. That was back in the VHS days. So
Betamax.
I think those were all destroyed.
Debbie
if they weren't, nobody has any machines to play them with.
There's no VHS players anymore, so I'm all good now.
I don't even think you can buy one at a Walmart. You might be able to buy one at a Walmart in rural Pennsylvania.
Betamax repairman.
That's right. And I didn't receive any royalties nor streaming at that time.
Oh, no streaming.
Lance, we're definitely going to have to get you back over here to do your own episode.
Absolutely, man.
I'm glad to be here.
I can barely see you. There's a red light between us.
Lamp in
I can see your hat. It's a good hat.
Sleeping over there.
It's got your initials on it.
We're boring them.
Forgot you guys have like 1,000 watts of.
Lance
Ford and I are sitting underneath direct sunlight.
I'm literally getting I'm getting pre-tanned for Mexico.
You guys are getting tans right now. I can see it.
Lance and me are roommates, and we never knew each other, and it was really weird. Like we met each other about last spring, 8 months ago. Yeah. 8 or 9 months ago. It's been 8 or 9 months.
Lance, you said you've been here for what, 3 years?
Been here 3 years now.
I didn't even know you were here, man. You're definitely going to have to come over and do a podcast. We'll get that scheduled when we're done here.
Love to.
He's the coolest dude. He it's like it's wild because he wears a lot of different hats. But I'd say the hat that he's most known for is obviously it's like it's like blues guitar, but he can do the whole.
I thought you were making a fashion joke. I'm back.
Yeah.
Wear different hats.
I was like, he wears a lot of different hats. That's a weird thing to say. Now, and I'm back.
He's got a lot of interesting stories. He's done a lot of things. It's just like it's really weird because like we're buddies, but we don't really go that deep with it. We just kind of just enjoy each other and get along really well, and there's no drama and all.
I bet there's no shortage of jam sessions.
Well, sometimes we do, but for the most part, we're kind of. He's been busy and I've been busy, but just hanging. But just an interesting cat that is better than most. Period. And secondly, does a lot of different things. He can do Anson Funderburg or Jimmy Vaughn or Stevie Ray Vaughan or Albert King like crazy or this that. But you know what? Then he's playing with the band that used to be. What was that band you're going on the boat with?
Blackfoot.
Which, by the way, we found out was Metallica's favorite band, right?
Right. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Blackfoot.
Yeah.
It's
a new band now called Two Wolf. It's some of the original members. But
yeah, that's like a boat cruise in January or February or something.
Hard Southern rock, yeah, heavy Southern rock.
I'm about to say Blackfoot's Southern rock. It's interesting that.
Yeah, but if you listen
West Coast San Francisco people were into that. I mean, it's not that weird, I guess, but
think about it though.
California people tend to be into California things.
It's really weird though, like
I love California. I'm not trying to knock Californians.
Do you ever hear music now that you're older and go, "Oh my God, you can more clearly see through the lines of."
Oh, you mean the Metallica?
Who they were listening to?
Okay, guys.
Any music, like now when I'm older, I listen to something, I go, oh, that's blah, blah, blah. But when I was a kid, I thought, oh, that's just that band.
Right.
Now I get older, I'm like, oh, that's just Van Halen, okay, the song So This Is Love. They're listening to Varney or whatever, that band, the Can I Get a Witness, right? You wouldn't have thought that when you were a kid, or I never thought, oh, the drummer sounds like John Bonham. I just thought,
Yeah.
Right.
It's the retranslation.
Well, you didn't have the
influence.
depth at that point to,
Right.
the perception.
Yeah.
Man, there's when Mark Letary was on this podcast, he was the 5th guest or something like that of this podcast.
He's a badass. He's so great.
He was pretty early on. Oh,
He's
it's
one
stupid.
amazing.
He's
It's
one
not
of the best
it's
guitar players,
in the world.
musicians on this whole planet.
absolutely.
It's so weird,
But
isn't it?
so we were talking about Metallica's Load and Reload record, and I can't think of the name of the album, but he was saying that they were very obviously listening to this one Cure record, the one with Firewoman on.
The Cult, you mean?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Firewoman.
What's the name of that record?
You're the blame.
Yeah.
Sonic Temple record. Yeah.
What Sonic Temple?
Sonic
Yeah.
With American Horse and all that. That
And
record was
dude,
good.
I went back and listened to that, and I was like, I totally hear
No
that.
way.
Load and Reload,
Yeah.
100%.
No way.
Absolutely.
I'm a fan of
Lettieri
Load and
pointed that
Reload.
out?
He did.
It's so weird to think that he pointed that out. It's like,
That's really not.
When did he fit
that's
that
right
in?
in his wheelhouse, man.
that's so, yeah,
Totally.
he just listens to a lot of different stuff.
Well, no, I mean, 80s guitar rock is something that he's into.
I was in Dallas one time and I called him and I said, hey, man, will you come over and show me stuff? The dude, he was already had a Grammy, came to the hotel, met me in the lobby. I was drinking a lot of water, so I had a 5-gallon bottle of water, like fill up it like, at the Whole Foods, you know what I mean? So I'm sitting there and I'm checking in my bag and he meets me in the lobby.
You mean like one of those sparklets joints?
BPA free, by the way. And I kick it and the 5-gallon thing broke in the lobby of the hotel. And there's 5 gallons of water. Ask him. And it went, whoo. It's just, you've never seen 5 gallons of water in a hotel
That's a
lobby.
lot of water, dude. That's so much water.
It just went
so much water.
Me and Lettieri were there. We looked like we were in the bottom of the ship with Leonardo DiCaprio. What's her name? When he was trapped in Titanic.
Yeah, Rose.
Get me free. Get me free.
The fiddlers, the flute music.
Ben, play a song.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So did that wash away the day's plans?
No.
or
We
did he-
went away. I grabbed my bag and we got out of there. We went up to the room and he like showed me like some really cool it was just all chord inversions. I was trying that kind of stuff,
Dude, the funny thing about Mark is he'll say like, oh man, I don't know any of that jazz stuff, and then like you hear him play and you're
Bullshit.
like, dude, it doesn't. I mean, I don't know if he can put names to everything or not. I'm sure he can do know some theory, but you hear him play and you're like, the vocabulary's all there. Also, just look at who he's playing with.
Yeah, right,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, he knows
he's,
all that.
he's playing
stuff.
with the stratosphere of musicians.
Yeah.
Like the musicians that he builds his trio with.
Right.
His bass player is a good friend of mine and my literal favorite musician on the entire planet.
Yeah.
He is.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
He plays. You're welcome. You heard it here first. He plays so dumb too, but he's in the stratosphere.
Yeah, Wes is
from
a theoretical genius too.
A grasp of theory,
Right.
And just like.
Who's playing bass with Lettieri?
Wes Stevenson.
Man, that's one of my oldest long-term friends.
Well, Wes, Wes does love you, Lance. He's talked about. We haven't talked about you in a minute, but he talks about you all the time.
Yeah, we did a great record together. Me, him, and Jamil Byram.
Yeah, dude, I've heard that record, and that shit
shit.
is banging. Because Jamil is the shit too.
We did it in like 4 hours. or some shit,
Those
the
two
whole
dudes
album.
are Dallas icons,
Dude, I gotta trade seats with you.
Man, how did I not know you
Sorry,
were
excuse
Dallas,
me. I'm
man?
sorry. It was just Wes Stevenson.
No, dude, that's amazing, man. I love the fact that you guys know each other. The fact that we came here, and it's like
That's awesome. I didn't know you were here. And we're definitely gonna schedule.
So
we're gonna
crazy.
schedule one. We'll make Ford sit over there on the couch.
I will sit over there.
We know, and we'll have to turn
I know
your
you
mic off.
Put it downstairs. No, I'm just gonna stay downstairs.
But
and eat
I'll
your-
just give you some tacos and you can
That's
sit
what I
over
say.
there.
I'll sit down and eat the rest of your food. You'll come down. I'll be like,
That's awesome.
Of course, when Lance starts talking, the GoPro app dies.
no.
Is there a red light on the camera?
Yeah.
Then you're good. You probably just have to restart the app. If it's recording, it won't stop if the app crashes. Or at least I don't think it will.
We'll start it over again.
Yeah, well, welcome to Gear and
And cut.
Beer. You are listening to the Gear and Beer podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by Bobby Jam's Kitchen. Want to take your home cooking to the next level? Need new recipe ideas or meal inspiration? Like, follow, and subscribe to Bobby Jam's Kitchen on YouTube and Instagram. At Bobby Jam's Kitchen. Cook your food and eat it.
Yeah. Well, I think now we're headed into the whole thing of the fact that today is the anniversary of the death of Dimebag Darrell.
Oh, that's right. Fuck you, Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah. That was a really hard day.
It was a hard day.
Dimebag was a really good friend of mine personally. And
I knew him, and I played you. I'm sure you know Mongo.
very, very well.
I was in Tres Hombres for several years, and I played many Halloween parties in Vinny's living room.
Right.
God, that's funny.
And the first one that I ever, and I probably told this story before, but the first one that I ever played, back then, I think it was probably about 2005, and I was driving my parents' old Suburban. It's a 93 Suburban, so I could fit a fuckload of gear in there.
Wow.
Fill it up with gear. We drive it up Vinny's
Driveway. That,
really precarious driveway that's very steep and narrow and dark. And so we load it up, or load it in rather, and I'm backing down the driveway because there's a bunch of cars up there, and it's started to pour rain. So I'm already pissed because I'm going to get soaking wet walking up that 200-yard driveway.
Right.
And I get all the way down. I hit the gate on the way. The gate's like 3/4 of the way down. I hit the gate with my car, and I'm like, great. I'll just scratch the shit out of my car. I get all the way down to the bottom, and this is the first time I've ever been over here. And Dimebag opens the door, and him and 3 chicks and 1 dude jump into the back of my Suburban, and he just yells, "To the top of the hill!" And so I obviously immediately drove him up there, and I was listening to ZZ Top because we were about to play some, so I was like checking a solo out. And he's like, "Oh, fuck yeah, ZZ Top, man." And I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah." And we get up to the top, and Vinny had just had a tree planted in this little piece of grass that was like just before you get to the entryway or whatever. You know, that little tiny little piece of yard. And he's like, he goes, "Hey, man, it's pouring out there. Pull up over there. Drive over that piece of grass or whatever." And he's like, "Drive over that glass." And I was like, "Man, I am not comfortable." I was like, "That's a brand new tree. I'm not comfortable driving over a sapling that your brother just had planted." And he goes, "Yeah, you're probably right." And I was like, "Damn, I just reasoned with Dimebag Darrell."
Oh my
Reasoning
God.
with Dimebag Darrell.
That was the first time I ever met him.
That was incredible.
He just jumped.
Oh,
my man.
Oh, look at you.
Welcome back to Gear
And Whiskey.
and Bisky.
Whiskey.
Cheers.
Cheers to
Is
you.
this Buff Trace? Yeah. Right on.
Ooh, man.
Yeah, that was a fun night, and then we proceeded to play. Man, Mongo's a complete idiot, but
Mongo.
that band was fun when Mongo had his head out of his ass and was actually like playing and singing good.
Yeah.
Some of those ZZ Top, like we were doing shit like Precious and Grace.
Oh, wow.
And a little more popular but still kind of underground ZZ Top stuff like Heard It on the. I mean, we were doing all the hits, all of the hits, but It's Only Love,
that's my jam right
and Blue Jean Blues, and Heard It on the X, and Precious.
That's the gospel
and
of
Grace,
Texas blues rock and roll.
Nasty and Funky Kings, or Nasty Dogs and Funky Kings.
So yeah,
man, those are such badass songs.
that's
dude.
the gospel, man.
It's like nothing has ever sounded like that before or since. That's like one of the few instances, kind of, and Led Zeppelin's that way, in my opinion. It's like people want to say that Greta Van Fleet sounds like Led Zeppelin, but those people don't have any ears.
Hey, yeah,
donk,
I'm not real sure about that.
Donk.
But
You can put on a leotard.
Regardless of what you think about Greta Van Fleet or Led Zeppelin, they don't sound like each other.
Right.
They just don't. It's
just a stupid thing.
And I'm glad you made that reference, Robert, because it is. It's like ZZ Top is like the Led Zeppelin of Texas. I mean, 100%. I've said that so many times. I've known Billy since I was, 16, grew up with him, was in a band with Billy Gibbons with Supersonic Blues Machine. We worked together, extensively. And, the thing about it is he's so imaginative. And I think that's what Hendrix loved Gibbons so much. And I think that's that creativity. And I think everybody in this room is like that. I think all of us have that creativity. And when it's just honed and nurtured. And I've seen Ford doing that in the last 48 hours. I've seen him just in a writing frenzy for whatever reason. I don't know what's going on with Ford, but
depression.
Like
he has a proverbial wild
total
hair.
Complete suicidal depression.
Oh,
Lance,
Honesty
unfortunately,
and beer with Ford Thurston.
No,
Lance is unfortunately stuck over there and
awesome.
by himself on a couch with no ears.
I'm
The rest of
loving
us
this
have
because his
ears.
bedroom's so close to mine. I feel like I'm getting a break from him right now. I can hear him snoring from my room. I'm kidding, actually.
You don't know.
I can't because I sleep with a rain machine next. I have tonight.
Nice.
Tinnitus so bad. From Vibro King. Remember the Vibro King amp came out?
Oh, my God, yeah.
I used to use 2 of those things.
The 310,
By the time I was
baby.
24, I had full-blown over-the-top tinnitus. I mean, you could lock me in a cell for 150 years. My ears are still...
Dude, I've had it since 16,
mine are
just in my
ringing
right
right
ear.
now.
But yeah.
Loudly.
Well, now they're finding it's actually not in your ears at all. It's in your brain. Tinnitus is in your brain. That was all. It's all hogwash. Yeah.
So your brain's just
it's
fucked?
a neurological disorder that happens.
Explains
and
so much.
They're trying to retrain things in Germany. They have these like techniques, like somehow tricking your brain and it gets rid of the ringing.
Well,
It's pretty wild.
I need that so bad.
Yeah.
See, I've always been worried about that. My dad, at an early age, because of Bugs Henderson,
oh, God, yeah.
What a name. Bugs Henderson.
Bugs Henderson
was
told
the
my
best.
dad to tell me, and Jimmy Wallace too, told my dad to tell me to wear earplugs when I
you
play
should.
because neither one of those motherfuckers, Bugs could not hear, rest his soul, and Jimmy cannot hear.
No.
Who was the biggest advocate musician to tell you to protect your ears?
Bugs Henderson.
No, I mean like you'd see on MTV back in the day. You'd see him in commercials.
Oh, I don't know, Kip Winger.
No. Todd Rundgren. Remember, he always used to say, "Protect your ears."
Really? I don't even did that. Wow.
Have you guys heard any of his more recent stuff?
No.
Yeah.
He's got a song called "Buy My Tea" that is funky as hell.
Really?
It is I'm gonna link that song. It is badass.
No shit.
Wow.
Yeah, it's essentially a funk song. It's Todd Rundgren, so he's like evaluating the lay of the music industry. And he's like, buy my tea, buy a koozie. We got your souvenirs. Come get something goodies. Support your art.
Right.
Support your artists. If you like something, go out. And it's essentially the message of the
Very
song.
smart guy.
But it's also a badass track.
No, that's cool.
And
Todd Rundgren.
if you want me to listen to your message, the shit better groove. You know what I'm saying? Man. I don't care about your lyrics. Lyrics come second. If it doesn't feel good or sound good,
You
or
know
have
what's really weird though?
catchy
Hold on.
melody.
You know what though? I used to not even pay attention to lyrics. And
Me
songs.
neither.
I used to
do these
listen to a
days.
record and not even. I would only be melody and
Absolutely
the way it makes me feel. Now, as I get older, I'm really listening to the message. But however, it's really hard to come across a lyric that okay, think about I Can't Make You Love Me. Think about this. That song was written by a linebacker from the Cincinnati Bengals.
Really?
Yeah, he was one of the co-writers on that, and the other writer was a writer that actually a woman I play with for years used to write songs with him. But yeah, he was an ex-professional NFL football player. Those lyrics.
What was his name? Remember?
It's not about lyrics. It's about how you magically get lucky and put the right words together that make you smell.
It makes it visceral.
That makes you smell the room that you used to be in, and makes you get that nostalgic feeling. Do you ever hear something or see something and you can smell
for me, for
that,
sure.
or even you feel exactly weirdly like you did when you were 12?
You hear a
it just hits
song
you for
and
a second.
it's an instant smell
It's
thing.
like mental
exactly
Tourette's. Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
I feel exactly like I did this one day when I was 12 years old. What is
It's
that?
very rare, but yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like, did you ever see asthma?
No.
ASMR, where your brain tingles.
I have no.
Look it up. Link that. Okay, on asthma. So
That's
Jamie,
going.
can we look
That's
that
going in the show link.
no, there's this thing, right? So, my whole life, like someone, if you were talking to me like this right now, if you kept talking like this, it will feel like my skull opens and like someone's tickling the inside of my brain with a feather, and then I'll sit there and it's weird, and then you'll stop talking and it'll go away. So this has happened my whole life, and I thought I was out of my mind, whole life, and then 4 years ago, my buddy who plays drums for Brothers Osborne, I was telling him about it. We were hiking together. He goes, Adam Box. He goes, you have asthma's. I'm like, what's that? He goes, dude, go on YouTube. And they have these really hot chicks that have like really big tits. And what they do is they sit there and they crinkle like tin foil. Like, cause I get it when people like crinkle paper together, they go, it'll make your brain go, and what they do is induce you to have it. And they're finding that some people can actually be induced to have it. It's pretty cool.
It's like a brain
Is it a
boner.
pleasant
A brain
effect?
orgasm is what it is.
Oh, so it is a.
It's a brain orgasm.
Okay.
Is what it is.
Pleasurable
Yeah.
thing.
So
Wow.
ASM.
The way you were describing it to me did not sound pleasant.
It
but
did
now
not.
that
No, it didn't.
I'm understanding.
Yeah, I
that
thought
it is.
I was just like, people would look at me. I'd tell them like over the years, like imagine me like in 1994 telling somebody, he'd be like, maybe that's a brain tumor. Maybe.
Oh, I meant to say back to the tinnitus thing.
Yeah, right.
Jack Pearson is in an interview said that he quit the Allman Brothers because Dickie Betts played too loud.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't
He was
understand.
like, I just couldn't do it anymore.
He was telling me about that. He told me that he's like, I ran through amp after amp, and I stacked Marshalls up, I stacked AC30s up. I couldn't hear myself, and it started hurting.
Because
my
Dickie is
ears.
just diming
I just had to
Marshalls
quit.
or whatever he plays with on
amazing.
stage.
That's my Jack Pearson impersonation.
And Dickie Betts, for the record, is still partying. That guy is.
He's
Wow.
one of those. He's
peach.
he's the Southern Keith Richards, bro.
Yeah, he is the Southern Keith Richards, man.
I mean, really.
He's still doing it.
All the other motherfuckers are dead.
Hey, it just goes to show you got to pickle yourself. That's how you do it.
Dude, I don't think that I party that much, man.
I don't think there's a lot of evidence that would suggest that is not necessarily the case.
So, Lance, you know anything about partying? What's up?
About partying?
Yeah, how you doing?
What does that mean? I've never heard that term.
Never. You don't party.
I am
hardy.
currently at a party.
Lance
I don't
is
know about you.
retired from partying.
This is what I would
Lance
consider
is the
a party.
only person in the room not drinking this fine whiskey, brought to you by
Anchor.
Anchor.
Brought to you by Bobby Jam's Kitchen.
Brought to you by Asmers.
So back to Dimebag. I played a concert not a concert, but a show at a bar. Snowy night in Pittsburgh, 1992. I'm a young boy.
You really know how to set a stage for Thurston.
It was a snowy day. So it looked like Stephen Lynch movie. You're cruising in on a dark road, and I had this really
David
cool.
Lynch?
David Lynch, not Stephen Lynch. Sorry, Steve Lynch was the guitar player for Autograph. Turn up the radio. I just saw a thing on that guy. He's still around, man. He's like totally like all like.
That's a
fake.
cool song. What's the name of that band?
That was Autograph. By the way, Autograph opened for Van Halen. My older brother.
Autograph. I don't want
That's Def Leppard.
That's Photograph. I know.
That was,
That's the joke for.
I didn't miss
that's
it.
right. Yeah, that's where. Yeah, right. I got it.
Thank you, Lance.
You're so fast.
And we found our show intro.
Yeah. So, actually, Autograph opened for Van Halen on the 1984 tour, and many people don't know this, but they did not get along with Van Halen. Van Halen did not like them all. In fact, they were like, they are so not cool. Then when I saw them, I was a little tiny kid.
They are so not cool.
Dude, I get there.
gotta
I'm
live
like
with
this.
words,
I'm
young
like this
man.
little kid, and my older brother took me and got me stoned. I was like, dude, I was like 10 years old, stoned, and got me on a trolley. He was my parental guidance. My brother was like,
do not recommend.
my brother was 12 and we get totally baked, and we go and we were all high. It's just like, it's what you did back then, and living in Pittsburgh. We go to the concert, and Autograph was playing, The fucking house lights were on. They left the house lights on because we must have seen the second to last show or something like that. Autograph got kicked off the tour. And
you're saying with Van Halen?
Yeah.
Oh, it was like a fuck you?
It was like a fuck you. Like, I'm like, what? They were playing. It was like everyone just walking around in an arena.
Yeah.
And then the music came on after they were done, and it was like the bassiest fucking music you've ever heard in your life. It was like, right? And it was like Van Halen used to do that. They would do the mix in between bands. So basically,
you need to be 14
so
dBs
when they come on, it was like clarity. Like, wow, they sound amazing, you know? But, I
see what you're saying.
But the funny thing is that I don't know if you know of Mental Case here in Nashville. They make they shared a building with Third Power over in East Nashville for years. This guy, he makes all the cases and stuff. His band picked up the leg of the tour for that, and he went up. And I saw them. Their record came out on New Year's Day in 1984. Record? Van Halen. 1984 came out on New Year's Day.
That's their best record. I don't care if you know it or not.
It's fucking amazing.
That's their best record.
It's stupid.
That's one of the best records.
Period. It is over the top.
That's one of the best records.
It's a game changer. So that record came out. Autograph gets canned by April 7th was when I saw them with Van Halen. And by the way, I saw on March 7th, 1 month prior, I saw Motley Crue open for Ozzy Osbourne. It was Motley Crue's first big tour on Shout at the Devil with Bark at the Moon. I saw that tour.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's bad.
It was fucking
crazy shit.
Is that Jakey Lee, right?
And I remember seeing Motley Crue, and me and my brother, we had really good seats, man. This was before, like, you know, they'd sell the first 20 rows to some scalper. You just wait in line. Whoever was there first got the good tickets. We had, like, 4th row seats or some shit. And I'm there, and I mean, Tommy fucking Lee is where that mandolin is. You know what I mean? And I'm watching it. And
he's spinning.
He's like 19 years old. And you've never seen anyone play drums like that. And they look like, and at that time, you thought they were possessed by the devil because that's what you were told. You know, they're satanic, you know.
Play their records back, you'll see.
This is scary. You know, I'm seeing it, but it was like so fucking badass. And it was so powerful. And then Ozzy came out, man, and just fucking crushed. It was unbelievable. And then
Jakey Lee was a beast.
Oh my god,
he was a bad dude, man.
Yeah, I saw that
just
tour.
because I feel like this might be a fucking awesome answer. Coolest concert you've ever seen?
Coolest?
Is that it?
God, man, no, it's not. And there's another reason, because there's one show, and I'm not even a big fan of the band, but what they did with my buddy took me in 2005. Jane's Addiction did a reunion tour.
I remember that.
And they got back together.
Yeah.
And I've never seen, and I know how they did this. You know how you go to a concert arena and you'll start noticing people start trickling out here and there, and maybe 2 songs for the encore because they could feel they get to their car earlier and whatnot.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what they did?
I'm that guy.
They had naked girls with pasties on seesaws in every section of the arena. So it was like a girl in a cage here, and then right in front of me was a girl, 2 girls on seesaws with G-strings on with pasties with looked like, you know, Betty Boop and whoever. Everywhere through the arena.
Boop.
And they had girls spinning on these things on stage, all these naked women. And I look around and I see like these fathers that brought their 14-year-old sons and the 14-year-olds, and they're going, Dad, this is the greatest concert I've ever seen.
So we now know Fort Thurston's definition of coolest concert.
Whatever, man. I mean, coolest now, most musical is a whole different thing.
Yeah. No, you nailed it. That's great.
Most musicals.
What about you, Lance?
Yeah.
The coolest concert I ever saw was definitely Starplex Amphitheater. I don't know what the hell they call it now.
I think it's Gexa.
But I will forever know it as the Starplex.
Gexa. Yes. Thank you, by the way, because that's what I always call it.
Right? That's what I mean.
It was Starplex for like 2 decades.
Right? If you grew up in Dallas,
Coca-Cola Starplex.
Coca-Cola Starplex. My mother took me to the Coca-Cola Starplex in 1990 to see B.B. King.
Hell yeah.
And unbeknownst to me, we get there to see B.B. King, and all these people are walking around the amphitheater, and they got these T-shirts on that have SRV on them. And I was going, what the fuck is SRV? Shit. I was like, what does that mean? Why does it? I had no clue who this person was. I just knew everybody at this concert because we went to see B.B. King, and B.B. came out and played, early, and it was and he played, and And then the lights went down, and Q102 was a rock station. I don't know if you guys remember.
I remember Q102. Hell yeah.
So Q102 TJ came out and introduced this guy Stevie Ray Vaughan, and we were down 11th.
You were like, holy shit!
And I'm this 12-year-old kid sitting there.
Man.
You said this was what?
This was 3 months before Stevie was killed.
Oh, no. Wow!
So this was right. This was in June.
This
Stevie
is when
died
he's
in
like
August.
at his. You're talking about. This is when he's at the top.
About to say, yeah, he's at the height of his.
I'm sorry,
exposure.
family
He was
style
literally glowing when he came out. He was just like a ball of light.
lights. Yeah, he's on. Yeah.
He was just a ball of light, and I was 12 years old.
That's the
and
13 gauge strings, I think.
No, he was on
Light
11s then.
At the end.
There's your guy. Tell him he's on 11s. Yeah.
Yeah, I think at the end he was playing 11s. I think that's what Renee Martinez was telling.
That's way more reasonable.
Yeah, I think early on though he had the big boys on.
No,
there.
there's definitely a period where that's what he was doing, but I bet that was the height of his
Your
cocaine.
fingertips would look like these.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Where he was just like he had more energy, knew what to do with. He sweat most of it out, but some of it he had to put on them 13 gauges, 13 to
yeah.
56 or
Big
whatever
boy.
the fuck.
But he had really big hands.
He had really big hands, and when he played chords, he used his pinky, but he didn't use his pinky when he would play solos for 99.9% of the time.
That's so crazy.
That's true.
Super
Really?
weird.
He never used his pinky on.
He used his pinky in almost every chord he would play, but not when he solo. It's
Really?
the weirdest fucking
I
thing.
never noticed that.
So people talk about him not using his pinky when he plays, but they're just talking about lead because if you watch him play any chords,
Right.
he's playing 4-note jazz, dominant voicing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I
I
use
mean,
his pinky for that shit.
God, man,
yeah.
like
it was
God.
incredible, and to see BB and Stevie Ray play together was, and it was incredible.
That's awesome.
He spent a lot of time actually in Pittsburgh.
Did one bring the other up?
Yeah, Stevie brought BB out. Well, they went off for the encore, and they rolled a little twin reverb out in the
Hell
middle
yeah.
of the stage, and BB came out. And I will have to admit that Stevie was playing all his heavy, his Stevie Ray Vaughan, and BB with the King with that one note, man, with the
Dude.
vibrato, leveled everything.
Really?
Literally leveled
One note master.
everything. The vibrato, it just was like.
Can't hang.
It was incredible. Stevie was playing a lot of all this fast, his thing, and BB would just step up and just hit one note, and it was just like, oh my god!
And it was probably a 1 or a 5.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
You just step up and just be like, tonic.
Right.
Yeah, and it was
Yeah,
like, oh,
I
right
like
in
playing
the
a 5 a
chest.
lot.
And everybody's like, oh my God, there's so much energy
like
in
that.
that
It's
one
really
note that
crazy.
is the key.
It is really weird. Like I that's we were talking about that earlier. It's like that's the kind of like
Is it the app or the camera?
No, now the camera has died. So, to all the listeners, we're just going to cut in a still of
you're kidding
at
me.
this point. We got half of him talking.
What the hell, man? So apparently, I guess my GoPro's dying.
Deer and beer.
So all this talk about BB King brings us to the final few questions here. These are dumb questions,
thank God.
and answer them however you want. And I'm going to hand pick these. I haven't rewritten any new questions. These are the same. I've
Same
asked
always.
everyone. And the first one is one that gets the same answer every time except for one time.
Okay.
And that is Metallica or Megadeth.
Metallica.
Care to elaborate?
Um,
Let me ask you this question.
singer for Megadeth just annoys me.
Have you
His daughter's really hot though. I'll tell you.
have
that.
you listened to much Megadeth?
No, I just can't stand the way he sings. I couldn't get into it. And Hetfield, I like Hetfield. Man, he was like badass. I like to go back to Ride the Lightning and stay my brain in that and Master of Puppets.
I challenge you to listen to very early Megadeth. The guitar playing is amazing.
How about the songs?
I think they're better.
Really?
I think they're smarter.
Really? Okay.
Maybe not as impactful. They certainly weren't.
Well, then I will get
popular.
past the fact that I was force-fed shit by some record label with a lot of money advertising Metallica on me, probably, right? That MTV probably is more responsible because all I thought was like P Cells, was it P Cells, right?
Yeah.
that right, and that's all I thought.
No, that's Countdown to Extinction is the name of that record.
Okay, I can't remember.
And it's a fantastic record, as is the follow-up record, Euthanasia, which those are their two huge 90s
That's
records.
Right. I had no idea that you were a Megadeth fan.
Oh, I'm a big... I love both, but... So Marty Friedman that's the two records the 90s era. That's Marty Friedman,
right.
And the record right before Countdown, which is Rust in Peace, is Marty Friedman. But the three records before that are Chris Poland.
Oh, jeez.
Who Chris Poland came back and played on the 2005 Megadeth record, which was like three records in a row in the early 2000s. Dave Mustaine did not use any of the actual live band. He used studio musicians. And the 2005 record, which was The System Has Failed, was Jimmy Lee Sloas.
Oh, wow. Jimmy Sloas.
Vinnie Colaiuta.
Wow.
Chris Rodriguez has done like the last 20 years of Megadeth records.
And like background vocals.
Background vocals. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wild, right?
Isn't that crazy?
Right. I actually did see that before.
Dude, he's been on 20 years worth of Megadeth records.
That's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah,
anyway,
I was on an airplane with the singer guy and
Dave Mustaine.
Yeah, he has some really big feet. He had really big.
He's also
huge feet.
He's also as good as any of the other guitar players.
He can play like that.
Yeah, half of those solos are him.
He can shred like that.
He can shred like anybody.
No way. I didn't know that.
He was the lead guitar player in Metallica.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then he was like a drunk idiot, and they got in a fight and kicked him out. Yeah, and
he's the guy before Kirk.
Yeah,
I will say this.
Hey,
I think I'm just going to say this. I'm not a Kirk Hammett fan.
He's great at what he did.
Just terrible.
He also wrote their most popular song of all time. Yeah.
See how that just worked? But I'm
well, hang on. So I have a note. So, are you guys familiar with the Kill 'Em All Metallica record?
Yes.
Okay. There is a song on there called "The Four Horsemen."
Okay.
If you listen to the first Megadeth record, there is a song on it called "Mechanics." It is the same song. Dave Mustaine wrote both songs, kept all of the music, and rewrote the lyrics, and there's like a tweak to the C part.
He's just like big finger, like, see you later.
It was his song.
Wow, there you go. He's like, I'm using this. Screw off.
That's
crazy.
Badass shit.
But the weird thing is, during that whole thing, though, around the same time I was telling you about the Van Halen thing, I got to go to the first Rising Force sound check.
I don't know what that is.
Yngwie. Now imagine I'm 12 years old, never knew who he was, and this person that was friends with the family was like, hey.
Somebody comes out and starts shredding on some Brahms.
I was at soundcheck, and he was at soundcheck. You know what he was playing the whole time?
Brahms?
No, he was playing Mean Street, the beginning of it. Yngwie was sitting there playing Mean Street. And then he came out, and I saw it, and I was like, ooh, everyone else can. Because when he was like 18 or 19, he played with a certain thing that was like untouchable. I mean, now it's this kind
before he floated around in his ego.
Yeah, it was like a parody of himself. But when he played, it was. Did you ever listen with Alcatraz and all that back in the day? It was like, oh
no.
God, dude, like, just
a band called
it's
Alcatraz?
testosterone. It's testosterone. Like when you are 18 years old, like what he does even now. But when he did it then, it was like, you are not fucking around. I'm going to saw you to fucking half. That's why that guitar playing thing happened in Crossroads. They did that because they knew this is what we need to do. This is the new guitar right now. You know what I mean? So during that period of Metallica, it's like when that happened, you know, I never really got into it, but I did enjoy listening to like the record Marching Out. I had a paper out, and I'd listen to that. I'd listen to some Metallica, but then it would be like Jeff Beck, and then I would listen like, you know.
Metallica was great, man. They you know, stopped speaking to me so much after that Reload record. When they tried to like reinvent themselves or whatever, they kind of lost me. They tried to do the Primus thing, where Primus with their fifth record, the Brown album, they went for this super lo-fi like 4 microphones thing.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
that was
it was such a departure from the clarity
they were
that they
the
had.
prison playing the right.
Yeah, they had Brain playing instead of Tim Alexander, and I felt like that's what Metallica tried to do with Saint Anger, and it sounded like the snare drum was like somebody hitting an empty oil drum with a piece of rebar. It was just the worst sounds of all time.
So what's your second question?
Yeah.
My second question is, you will know it when I fucking get to it. That's what the second question is.
Brought to you by
Go fuck yourself and beer.
Yes. This next question is brought to you by Fuck Off.
Motherfucker.
So I think I know the answer to this next question. The answer to this next question. Okay. Jazz or metal?
I would be more into jazz, I would say. But I'm not a big jazzer, though.
You're not, but I think that suits you better than metal.
Way, I listen to classic jazz when I drive around my car. I listen to
That's because it has soul, and you have a soul.
I listened to some jazz today in my car driving around, so I did. But like metal, actually, me and Lance talked about putting together a metal.
Eat that mic for me.
I can.
Yeah, there you go.
Play metal though. Like I'm into metal. Like I can write metal. I was in a hard rock type band a few times in my life. And I do miss it because I like the actual simplicity of it, but I like the songwriting aspect of it. I loved like Screaming for Vengeance from Judas Priest. That was my shit, man. You know, I could get down with some of that. You know what I mean? I like tight band. It's well rehearsed with like not even harmony solos, but two guitar players that double each other in leads. That's the shit, man. When you both step on a wing and play tight.
Oh, if they're killing it, yeah.
Tight in unison.
Yeah.
You're going to get heard. You know what I'm saying? You're going to hear that.
And that creates a really cool stereo image.
Oh, it's badass, man.
The nuance to each person's.
People don't even think, like, there's a block that you think that wouldn't be cool. Why would it be uncool for both of you to play a worked out solo and perfectly double each other? Because it's going to sound massive.
Wait, I need to take a quick gear and beer poll. Ford Thurston, do you know who the Thompson twins are?
Yes.
Okay, Lance Lopez, do you know who the Thompson twins are?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
Okay, because I have no idea.
Thank you for not asking me.
I already know because we went through it. Remember when we did that podcast?
Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
That was the last time we had four people. Thompson twins came up, and it was Matt Krause and Boo Massey. You know Boo. Lance, do you know Boo Massey?
I know who he is, and I can't remember if I met Boo or not. Maybe.
Well, he's my literal guitar hero and one of my best buds. He was the first guest on this podcast. That's amazing. And the entire reason, if I have good tone, that I have good tone.
There you go. Boo Massey.
But anyway, for whatever, I don't know what we were talking about.
Question 3.
Thompson twins.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
You can boss me around on your podcast. This is my podcast.
I'm running out of battery.
I'll do what I want.
I'm running out of battery.
Which one of these questions do I even want to ask you?
Who uses these picks?
I do.
Oh, my God. How do you use that thing?
I use my fingers, usually.
I can't believe you asked Ford that question because just the other night he looked at me like 2 days ago and said, we need to start a metal band.
Yeah.
True story.
I was like, yeah.
You were going to have to both grow your hair out.
I'm working on it.
Dude, I'm going to shave my head bald.
Yeah, Lance, last time I saw you, you had long hair.
I cut it off. During the lockdown because I didn't know if I had to go into combat mode.
He's got the consensus from the fans. All of his fans are up his grill. They're like, you got to grow your hair back, Lance.
Yeah, I went back to Texas and they were like, this is not working.
Lance came home and he said, Ford, I think I might have to grow my hair back.
Mainly from the female
that's something that you'd never hear like back in the day, like when Eddie Van Halen cut his hair off after the 1984 record. No one's ever said Eddie grew his hair longer because his fans told him to,
Hey, Lance, don't let me forget that we need to take a picture and send to Wes before you leave.
Yeah,
before and after.
Oh, yeah, we're going to get pictures after this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good call. So my next question, I think I know the answer to as well, and that's tacos or pizza?
Oh. I want both.
Taco pizza.
I'll eat pizza and tacos.
Well, how about we'll go to CC's and we'll have a taco pizza?
Oh my God, dude! How could you can't put those together as an option that's like a divorce. That's not going to happen.
That's like your opinion, man.
I'm from Pittsburgh, and we have like New York type. I think Pittsburgh has some of the best pizza.
Fort Thurston,
5 Points Pizza. Have you had it?
You mean in town?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine like when you're drunk on a Friday night and you get a pie from there, and then you're like, no, I want a taco. Huh? You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
What if you get
Your tacos were amazing.
If you get a slice of cheese pizza that has a hard shell beef taco inside of it, and it's wrapped up like that. And
That's a damn good time, right there,
That sounds
buddy.
like a party.
that sounds.
Who does this?
I just invented it, as far as I know.
Just now.
Well, that's going to be in the restaurant that I'm putting the money up that I become 51% owner of.
50. Yeah, you added that one on.
You may as well just
50,
keep on,
51.
You just keep on going to 100. You come up with all the concepts yourself.
Yes.
Live or session playing?
Oh, live. Sessions are like cool and all that, but it's like, man, all you're doing is just fixing people's bullshit the whole time. It's like, and I'm creating
That's not
shit.
necessarily. What if you're doing your own stuff?
Oh, no, I love doing that for myself. And how about this? Okay, I got the answers. I
So, let's say
actually
this.
produce a lot of records, not here in Nashville. I go out of town and do them. That's where I do
Really?
my work. I do. And that's fun because I have more control and I'm writing the songs most of the time too. So I'm basically making my vision, but I don't do it only by seeing it like how I'm going to make it, which is best for me. I like being able to look at people and dress them up in what they're supposed to be.
You want to plug anything? I'll write it down.
Sure. Actually, I have a song, and this is weird. There's an older bunch of guys, and their song is
Tears for Fears?
It's Tears for Fears. Their song is actually
Sweat, and Tears?
on like 300 country stations right
Blood,
now.
Sweat, and Tears for Fears. Final answer.
What is this? Blood, Sweat, Fears, and
Blood,
what?
Sweat, and Tears for Fears.
Love it.
That's too much. I can't even understand. It's like Tears for Fears.
Blood, Sweat, and
Tears
Tears
for
for Fears.
And Ozzy, no more
Steers
tears.
and queers.
Oh, I knew you were going there. See, did you see how I didn't do that and he did it?
It's my podcast. I do what I want.
I wanted to say it, but I didn't. But he saw that. They're called Six Gun Sally, and the song's called Drunk Text. That's the song they have on country radio right now, and we're going on. They have a radio tour it's leaving in January. But
Six Gun Sally Drunk Text.
Six Gun Sally. It's called Drunk Text. Yeah, it's just a simple country song. It sounds like 90s country. It's kind of cool.
So, for a long time, you worked for various different like pedal companies, and you slinged or slanged or slang or slung
Have slung.
have slungeth many much gear.
Yes.
Over the days. All of that aside, if let's say I give you your let's say for instance your 6330 and whatever amp you choose. If the only other thing you get is one pedal, what's that pedal? You got whatever guitar you want and whatever amp you want, but you only get one pedal. What's the pedal?
If it's only one pedal, it's okay. You know what? I have the answer because I know the amp it's going to go with already, and I know that my original. I got the longest I've ever owned amp when I moved here 15 years ago. Tom Bukovac sold me a 57 original Tweed Deluxe for next to nothing. And that amplifier is already loaded in a lot of 8K, as we know. The circuit has a lot of mid-range. So you're going to get heard. You crank that, that's the Don Felder sound of one of these nights in Hotel California. That's that sound. If I have that amp and I have a 335, it's still going to be an original Old Nobles. Because it doesn't matter to me that pedal scoops on that circuit because the amp brings the mid-range back. Especially since the pedal's first, hits the amp, then the amp brings back the mid-range, and Bob's your uncle.
Nice.
There you go.
That's a good answer. I really like that answer.
Good.
Can
I have a reverb pedal, though? Because it doesn't have reverb, and I need reverb.
I've got
Come on.
I've got two
Post mix me with that.
two remaining questions.
Good. You skipped a bunch. Go ahead.
I
sorry.
didn't.
Okay.
I didn't give you a number of questions. You don't know what I've done.
No, I thought it was like top
you don't know
10.
my life.
Looking for your cards like David Letterman.
Where did that come from? Yeah.
The second to final question is not a yes or no question. It is,
Just the deep eye contact.
and this is, I want this to be like off the top of your head. I don't want deliberation.
Okay, you want, it, bam, instant.
Yeah, I want you to tell me your 3 desert island records.
Oh my God. Okay, bam, right now. Okay, it's gonna be right now. 1984. I agree with you. You said that earlier.
Great record.
1984 is gonna be in there. Okay, and I'm gonna definitely go with. I'm going to say "Wired" from Jeff Beck.
Okay.
I said that before, and this is gonna get really weird, but I'm gonna go way back.
Sonic Temple, The Cult.
No. No, and you know, honest to God,
Boy.
one I listen to all the time.
Thompson Twins.
As far as jazz, I'd say, Kind of Blue. That covers the other.
Okay.
I know I left like there's only
Always a
3.
solid choice.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
solid.
It's Wired, Kind of Blue, 1984.
It's almost just like there's one of my favorite Chris Stapleton songs, and if I had written this song, this question would be called "What are you listening to?"
Yeah.
But those are great answers. I don't want the serious deliberation. If I have to, I just want to know.
It should be taking too long
because it's almost like a representation of what you've been listening to or what's at the top of your mind.
I got you. Right. Yeah.
So the final question, we've briefly discussed them already, but this is called the King's Court, okay?
Yeah.
And you have to choose between Freddie,
I knew he was going to do this.
BB, Albert, or King Zex.
And before we do this, Lance,
Yes.
save your goddamn answer for your episode.
Yeah. Honestly,
I am going to stand.
I like Freddie King because he fucking did a lot of drugs and rock, and he looked like he was doing drugs while he did it. Not that I'm a drug head, but he was raw. Albert King, I really love him. He's like, woo! He was great. I love him. I mean, I know all of them a lot. I mean, I've had like the rarest records all through like years and years and years and years and years. But Freddie King kind of just. Isn't it really weird that like
He's the coolest one of them.
But you listen to a lot of guys now, and I'm actually hearing a lot more Freddie King in these West Coaster bluesers and all that than I'm hearing. I mean, you hear the Albert King, but they do the most typical things that he does. But Freddie
very
had,
often the Stevie Ray like interpretations of Albert King.
Yes, exactly. It's like third, fifth, ninth.
Which people want to shit on that, but. Kiss my ass.
Right.
One of you play Albert King like that.
Right.
I dare
it's
you.
Precise. Yeah. But like even like here, Lance here, like when he goes into that bag, it's like a hybrid of it to where it's like even way more precise than like even Albert was because it's grown upon over time.
I don't feel like Albert was very precise. I think that the coolest thing about him is how like he played like tuned down a whole step or something, so the super slinky ass strings.
God, it did sound
which
like
is how he did all them crazy.
When he just warm up, you know that sound when he'd turn the guitar.
Am I off base here, Lance?
No, absolutely not. He was tuned.
I
to
can
like
hear
a
what he
C-sharp
sounds like when he tunes his guitar.
C sharp. That's right.
When he tunes his guitar, he goes. Think about the Albert King sound when he live tunes his guitar. It's like.
Like when he first plays it, you're like, ugh, and then he starts playing, you're like, oh. Freddie King has an amazing ability to like play completely out of time and still somehow in the pocket.
Right.
It's like it sounds like electrocution. It's like you hit him with it and it's just like and you pull the wire away and then he plays something in time and in the pocket, and then it's like somebody's hitting them with the open wire again, and it's just like a flutter of notes, and they're not in any particular cadence or like rhythm or anything that has to do with what else is happening.
Right.
Like I can't think like that. I can't wrap my head around that kind of playing. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome, but it's hard to like look at from like a statistical.
It's like floating. Okay. Because I'm like a jazz head, it's like floating the changes, like Joe Henderson. You know what I'm talking about? Where like the shit is not exactly in time, or sometimes it's just straight up. No, or Mark Turner floats the changes.
Yeah,
like
around,
it's just like this. It's
but they're doing it in such a musical way that it's just they're rolling around on a mattress.
Yeah, I don't think that this is like thought about. I think this is
and I don't think Joe or Mark think about it. It's just something they do. Absolutely, Mark, just because Mark is
but they're coming
genius,
from
he's absolutely not thinking about that.
Yeah, but they're coming from a standpoint where that's already part of the vocabulary. That shit is not part of Freddie King's vocabulary.
I mean, there's so many jazz players that play like really great time. I think it's
what I'm saying is from a harmonic standpoint, if they're floating the changes,
sorry, I meant like rhythmically floating the changes, like they're playing changes and they might be generally lining up with where the chords are changing, but rhythmically they are floating. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, and you told me that before about Albert, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
and
Freddie.
Freddie, my bad. And I went and listened to it, and I was like, that's actually true. I never realized it. That is something that he does.
It's wild.
But
It's
you don't
so
realize it
raw
because it's
and
so
full of power,
badass.
though. It's like
Hey, how much beer do you guys usually drink on this show?
a lot more than this.
way more than this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is my,
That's
this is
what
my
he
Getting
fourth
passionate
beer.
about this
You
shit.
are passionate. I would say this though, that you'd even ask Lance. I actually listening to the blues, and even since back, I'm talking in like the early '90s. I was always into like my favorite guy. He knows this is like I like Hollywood Fats. I like those guys. They're more, like some. I like this like weird kind of like Munster. Swing West Coast blues. I like those cats. Like I like an ES-175 with a low-powered tweed twin with some reverb.
Jump blues.
I like jump blues. I like those cats. They got a little bit of chromaticism and the diminished thing. I like, to me, a fucking
You like a little bit of a jazz.
like a
blues.
pompadour. Those guys are like, yeah, not a little honey with the thing. They all sing like that, right? I like that shit. You know, a lot. That's really, I'm really more into that. When the blues side, like I don't know, it's just more of a character to me. Like the Chicago blues things, I believe me, I listen to a shit pile of it, but I like the West Coast sound for me for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's just more enjoyable. It takes me somewhere. Like I was listening to Anson Funderburg today, and I was like, you know, I knew Anson was since back in '93 because I met him in Memphis at the. Or I was playing there, and then we went to the King Biscuit Blues Festival, and he had this like navy blue bread
from
truck.
Austin, Lance?
Anson's from Dallas. And,
It's from
and
Dallas?
Fun fact, Anson is actually the bassist for Beavis.
Of course.
Mike-
Yeah, he's the basis for what he
But
looks
Mike
like.
Judge was just fun fact. I just wanted to.
Yeah, okay,
throw
right.
that in there.
You told me that's crazy.
Mike Judge was Anson's bass player. Anyway,
That's pretty amazing.
but yeah.
Wow.
I have Lyndon, make a note about that for the next podcast.
Yeah.
Whether or not Lyndon is going to be here, Lance, we're going to podcast next
You
Tuesday.
could get him on the phone, I bet.
Doing it.
No, I'm good for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then, we're doing it next
right,
Tuesday.
Do it, man. Hell yeah.
Got it. I'm
Put it
booking
in.
it.
So,
Mike Judge.
did I answer the question? Yeah, I think,
Yes.
Was the answer
you said
Cronenberg's?
You said Freddie.
yeah. I would go with that.
That is the choice that most people make.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
I didn't expect that. I expected a lot of BB.
Really?
And I have gotten some BB, but I expected a lot of BB. Either way.
I loved how he bullshitted people and told people that he didn't know how to play chords.
Who, BB?
Yeah, that was bullshit.
Everything. I mean, he was like a enterprising blues guitar player. Like that man knew how to sell himself.
Right. Oh, God.
And I still use one of his quotes to this day, which is like, "You don't pay me for the 2 hours I'm on stage. You pay me for the other 22."
Right.
And if that's not the truest shit I've ever heard about this industry, then I don't know what is.
We're professional waiters.
Well, exactly.
All we do is wait all day. And everybody's like, we only played from this. Like, yeah. Motherfucker.
You must love your
I was
job.
on a tour
It's like,
bus
I
that
don't
drove
know.
across the fucking country, got here and waited around, sat in fucking cartage, blah, 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 blah. Did
Or
this,
the 8 hours I was in the
and
airport.
did nothing.
I was just about to say.
But you're
I'm
like,
an
well, you should
airport
be
guy
happy. It's
lately.
like, dude, your whole life revolves around waiting.
The half-a-mile sprint I did
Yeah.
to the gate because of your bad routing.
I remember one time I was playing a big arena gig in Boston, and the manager of the artist I was playing with was such a stickler. Always be like, be on time, be on time, be on time.
That's pretty important. That's
And
not
we
really
were
being
the opening
stickler.
band, but it was sold out. We were playing for a really big country artist, and he decided that on this gig he was going to take us, since we were in Boston, we were going to go to a pier and get lobster rolls. The dumb motherfucker did not realize that the clock had changed back because we came out of Nashville. So we lost an hour. So he thought, and dude, we were late to fucking getting back to an arena show to go on to play. And he was the manager. How about that shit? That crazy.
Well, speaking of being late, thanks to my guest this week, Ford Thurston. It's time to wrap it up. We've been hanging out for a very long time.
There's leftovers in the
We've got
kitchen.
tacos still remaining to eat. Special guest, Mr. Lance Lopez, will be
all
next
right.
week's podcast guest. As
Yeah,
always, Lyndon McCarty, twisting and tweaking. Ford, thank you, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Enjoyed it.
Amazing.
It's always fun hanging.
You guys got a great thing going here. This is amazing.
Well, thanks again for coming, and we'll certainly have you back. And again,
you could do this for hours and not cover everything. You could do days.
Everybody has so many different cool stories, and just like the perspectives and like the different scenarios. So
go for days.
That's what we're doing. We're just trying to dive into that. So make sure you follow and subscribe. Instagram and YouTube at Gear and Beer Podcast. Ford Thurston, Lyndon McCarty, Lance Lopez. I'm Robert Miller. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to Gear and Beer. And thanks for watching. And send money. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Gear and Beer Podcast. Make sure and subscribe and turn on notifications for our channels, and if you haven't already, follow our Instagram and YouTube channels. We truly appreciate your support and ask that you please tell anyone you know whom you think might be interested in our podcast about gear and beer to help us grow and continue bringing in great guests from around the industry and beyond. Thanks again, and until the next episode.